B2B Cambodia, the portal for business use in Cambodia.
Hi James, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today about Cambodia's economic outlook. It's great to be here today at the KPMG office.
Thank you very much for coming. It's an absolute honor to speak on a subject that I'm very passionate about and hugely optimistic about.
Right,
so
thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for your time. So to start off, I think it would be great to kind of look at the big picture. Of course, there's been a lot of geopolitical tensions, a lot of developments that have happened in recent months. Things with tariffs in the United States export market, and of course the border conflict here in Thailand and Cambodia. So there's been a lot of uncertainty in the market, and we've seen a lot of these international agencies like the ADB, as well as local organizations like Mekong Strategic Capital, revise their economic forecast for Cambodia down from in 2026, as well as for this year. Looking at the economy and how things are going, they've kind of seen that in this year and next year, things will be taking a bit of a downward turn. But surprisingly, they still see that 2027 and beyond will be somewhat positive. And I think that's very interesting to look at that trajectory, despite all these kind of difficulties that are happening right now. So I wanted to get your take on that. Do you agree with these forecasts, and what are your thoughts?
So I would say it's not surprising at all.
Right.
Cambodia's response to a range of external and domestic factors is actually quite reassuring, because it shows that our economy is developing and it's turning into a modern, sophisticated economy that reacts to stimulus. Now, in terms of the economic outlook, Cambodia undoubtedly faces challenges in the short term. How long that downturn cycle will be will largely depend on the recovery program and the structures that are put in place by Cambodia's government to turn around and drive the growth out of a down cycle. And I'm hugely excited about the opportunities that will come with that growth from a low base. Why am I so bullish about Cambodia in the medium to long term? And it's a very simple answer: young Cambodians. Cambodia has some of the best demographics in the world. Our age curve is beyond good. We are better than many, many, many countries, and especially the developed countries. So that is what drives Cambodia's future.
When you look at Cambodia, do you think that the country maybe has an edge over some of its regional competitors and neighbors?
I think Cambodia has several edges over its regional peers and its regional competitors. One of them is power. We have 62% green renewable energy. That's a huge advantage. We are a long way ahead in terms of that infrastructure. Cambodia has so many white space economies. Our land utilization is so low. The potential for new industries to be developed in Cambodia provide a huge amount of economic stimulus that will only come online in the future as those industries develop. When we look at the current situation, the response to the conflict in Thailand, we see that Cambodia has suffered in some areas, food shortages, some challenges in that area, right? The challenges in those supply chains highlight those opportunities to Cambodians. If I go to the supermarket and they say, oh, I can't find my favorite brand of noodles anymore, well, why don't I start a business that produces my favorite brand of noodles? What we have to look at for the next stage of Cambodia is to maintain our culture of entrepreneurship, to look at how we can support the establishment of SMEs, and to encourage young people to want to start a business so that we can continue to grow. We have the landscape where there is very low levels of competition in Cambodia. In most sectors, you only have one or two successful players. And in many sectors, they are complete white space industries. If we look at agriculture, if we look at cashews, the government is working extremely hard to stimulate cashew processing because our farmers are the largest or second largest producer of cashews in the world. Unfortunately, because of systemic issues, we produce very few processed cashews. So now the government is really working to stimulate this sector. But what we need is our young Cambodians to come through and say, that's an opportunity for me to produce goods that capture that value and stop it from going overseas. And I think there's a lot of effort that's being put in here on the government side that we need to match as the private sector to capture that value for the country.
Have you been able to observe any shifts in broader investment sentiment? Can you see maybe is there more uncertainty about entering the market, and how are you kind of navigating these difficulties when you speak to these investors?
So I think the core message to investors who are coming to Cambodia remains the same. Mm-hmm. In Asia and in emerging markets, we manage problems proactively before they happen. We have very detailed contracts. We don't rely on case law. So we already know how a problem will be resolved before it becomes a problem. Mm-hmm. Because of our late start and the troubles that Cambodia went through, we're a little bit behind the rest of the region. And that means that the opportunities that already existed in our market are now bigger than ever. Mm-hmm. And that has to and will attract investors to come to Cambodia. We have one of the most favorable investment laws of any country in the world. We allow 100% foreign ownership. We provide up to 9 years of tax exemption for companies that come to Cambodia. We have all of the tools for people to come to Cambodia and be successful. They have to be mature about how we do that, and we have to manage risks in a different way in emerging markets to how we manage them in the US or Europe. In the US, we can rely on the court system. In Cambodia, we can't rely on the court system as heavily, and we have to think differently about managing risk.